the first quarter ongoing in terms of the key development milestones. So we actually have 3 agendas to be discussed on what's happening during the key updates, also following by the capital structure and also the financial performance of the first quarter by Khun Suraya. On the highlights for the first quarter, although there's the situation of pandemic COVID-19 and also the slowdown of the global economy, we're still quite impressed in terms of the core earning performance that we actually can be able to grow by 54% in the first quarter, thanks to the 40% capacity growth of our portfolios, plus the merger and acquisition transaction we have done in March of 123 megawatt of SPP, which is Angthong Power. And also, another one is on the full contribution that we have been gotten from the successful commissioning of a number of projects last year. So it's been a good year for us and has been fully contributed for the full year of this year, starting from 2 solar farm in Vietnam and the acquisition of Glow SPP, and also in terms of the waste to energy projects. So that's adding up 820 megawatts of the new capacity since last year and a full year this year. Plus, we also have welcomed the new industrial customers, altogether up to 26 megawatts over the past years. So that has been contributed in terms of the full year revenues since last year and coming to this year as well. And as a result, we also can break the record high of the EBITDA margin, 29.2% target. And on the second point, on the situation of industrial customers, so far the volumes on the first quarter has been quite stable in line with the last year, and that's resulting from the well diversification of our portfolios. Plus, we also have the new clients that has been coming online last year, and also this year of additional of another 30 megawatt that will be synchronized from starting first quarter and second to fourth quarter onward as well. Not only that, if any case that may happen in terms of the effect through this global economic situation or COVID-19 impediment, we still have the pent-up demands of more than 1,000 factories that would like to be consume electricity from us. Talking about the COVID-19 situation, so B.GRIMM has been well prepared in terms of the strategically and also visionally of our management to be able to manage our portfolios in terms of the diversification and also with the well contractual frameworks. So our 100%, 70% has been long-term contracted with state enterprises such as EGAT, EVN, or EDL, which is the government of Thailand, Vietnam, and Laos, which has been very stabilized in terms of the revenue and still have a very reliable cash flows so far. So, and plus, in terms of the preparation of our cash on hand, we have accumulated to making sure that we have sufficient liquidity management. So we have altogether 21 billion baht on hand, plus in addition of 9 billion baht of the working capital facilities from various financial institutions to be reserved for any situation that may happen along the way. Not only in terms of the those 2 items I just mentioned, we also try to ensure that we can make any cost saving plans during this difficult period. So far, we actually have discussed internally with the technical and financial teams and be able to ensure that we can make a cost saving of from our extending of the turbines, and also in terms of the upgrading of the gas turbines, altogether around 85 million baht. So that would be a very big buffer for us in terms of this year's unpleasant situation. For the last point I want to be addressed is on the development over the past quarters. So basically, even though there's a bit difficulties in terms of the communication, but we're still able to penetrate through the video conference and through whatever that we can done. So we still be able to go on smoothly with our acquisition, as mentioned earlier, of the 123 megawatt Untitled power, and be able to consolidate in March of 2020. Not only that, we also have the good news in terms of the new chapter of B.GRIMM power, since the government has allowed for the third-party access to have the private and public participation to come in for the LNG and gas supply. So we have been applied for the shipper licenses for LNG mobilization. So we have been announced in May of 2027 to be awarded for the LNG shipper license from the regulator, and be able to bring along 650,000 tons per year starting 2022. And that can also ensure the opportunity through various type of power plants with the LNG supplies, that also be able to making confidence to be able to make the target of 5,000 megawatts in 2022 as well. So just to add up on what I did mention about the COVID-19 pandemic, we have high priorities in terms of as an ESG company and high corporate governancing, in order to ensure that our employee has first priority of the health and safety to be able to work and do all the jobs smoothly. So we have implemented all the work from home policy, and also be able to making sure that the power plant has still be able to run smoothly. So far has been proven. And also for the community, we also have contribute in terms of the donation, and also in terms of the support to medical communities and through the various channel, with the budget of more than 50 million baht. So I would like to clarify and elaborate further in terms of the what has been an impact and effect towards our industrial customers. So I will break down into three factors. As mentioned earlier, the portfolio of B.GRIMM has been contracted with the government of more than 75%. 3/4 that has been very stabilized in terms of the cash flow from the long-term contractual frameworks with the long-term PPA of 20 to 25 years. So that part has been well taken care of, and not much effect through this unpleasant situation. But the 25% of the portion has been through the industrial customers, mainly in Thailand and also in Vietnam. So if you break down in terms of our industrial customer sectors, we have quite well diversified portfolios, vary from auto parts to tires, packaging, compliance, and industrial gas. And there are quite a mix of the impacts, both positive and negative, through this situation. So if you see from the slide on the top right-hand corner, packaging, electronics, home appliance, and tires customers actually has been beneficials from this global economic slowdowns and COVID-19 impediments, thanks to our strategic location of Thailand, our well structure in terms of I think the geographical and also the readiness of the countries, so that contributing towards the generation and production from various type of customers to be able to still continue their production lines and still consume the electricity. However, there also has impacts to our customers, which is mainly on auto parts and some of the consumer products. And that's happening globally through the order of the new vehicles, and that may be able to resume again. And we have seen some movement in terms of the recovery from June onward. On the other parts, I just want to emphasize is that we also very fortunate that we have the new customers coming online since last year, 25 megawatts throughout the years, and also continue to adding up more and more customers to our umbrella. So for the first quarter, and until May, we have already gotten 15 megawatts coming online. They also can carrying the situation in a better way, and we continue to have additional more of the customers coming online in the remaining of the years of additional 16 megawatts from various sectors. And if you can see that besides our current situation, our existing customers and the new customer coming online, we still have 130 customers out of 1,500 customers altogether. So we still have less than 10% in terms of our existing customers, and we still have more than pent-up demands coming from various areas, from various industrial parks and so on. Moving on to the next topic of our discussion. So as mentioned earlier, we have a quite great movement and a new landscape in Thailand, and also for B.GRIMM Power in terms of the new business of the LNG to power. So since last year, we have announced the MOU signing with the Vietnam Power to jointly study and develop LNG to power business together with a size of 3 gigawatts. That's still underway, still discussing along with them and try to make it visible in the near term. And second point on the LNG shipper license that I did mention earlier. So that also have been a great movement since last month, and things continue to have the contract and more concrete plan to be able to present you in the near future. But if we see from the global trend of both the oil price and also the gas price correlated between each other, that will be also a key beneficial factors toward our bottom line earning performance. Although there may be somewhat affected from our industrial portfolios, especially on auto parts, but we still can have the benefits from this global economic slowdown to have the lower gas price from both the SPP gas price and also from the trend of the LNG. So we foresee that the second half of the year, the trend of the gas price will be coming downward and can be able to make the margin much higher between the top line revenue and the gas component, which has been accountable for 70% of our cost structure. So it will be a great benefit towards our bottom line profitability margin eventually. Touch a bit on the water management that has been a bit of concerns since beginning of this year. That this year may be somewhat a drought year for Thailand. So we actually has overcome the situation has already been officially announced that we can become the rainy season in Thailand since May of 18. However, during the drought year periods, we actually have well reserved in terms of the water management through the reservoirs that in the adjusted parks. Also, in terms of the water management that has been done effectively through our wastewater management and the treatment system by using the recycling water, and also in terms of the technical of the increase of the cycle of the concentration, so that has been already overcome and taken care of, and to ensure that for following years also we'll be able to manage well enough in terms of the effective water management. Next topic will be on the project development and also the new opportunity that will be coming along for B.GRIMM Power over the next 3 to 5 years from now. So if you see that with our capacity growth of 35%, we have been already achieved in terms of the contracted capacity, total capacity of 3.5 gigawatts over up to 2025. So every year we have the new coming projects to be adding up into our portfolios. So this year we already have successfully done in terms of acquisition of Untitled Power since March, and we are now developing several projects altogether with the Cambodian project of 39 megawatt that's still going as planned, and we're targeting to commissioning by end of the year. And also the wind farm project in the size of the 16 megawatt that also has been under development, but due to their delivery of the turbines and the rotors from China and from Europe, that may be somewhat a delay. So we have to shift up a bit of a month or to 3 months or so in terms of the target commissioning to early next year instead. But the remaining still online as planned: SPP replacement, SPP extension, and also the new SPP plus the hydro projects allowance that also will be coming accordingly. That has been able to achieve so far 3.5 gigawatts committed pipeline, but our targets always be at 5 gigawatts, and we are still committed to deliver as planned by 2022 target that we are very convincing that we can be able to deliver. So with the opportunity has been coming from the situation that has been somewhat benefits from the global economic slowdowns and COVID-19 impediments that give us more potential opportunities that has been quite giving us a chance to look around for the good and decent size of the projects and the very good, right valuation. So if I've been ranking in terms of priority of the project that will be coming online throughout the year and in the near terms, we have been almost 90% in terms of the probability to be able to welcome the new project in South Korea, which is the about 35 megawatts wind farm, which we have been partnering with the government of Korea, namely KEPCO. So we target to hold 80% with the KEPCO subsidiary of 20%, and the long-term contracts of 20 years with the renewable energy certificates contract of 20 years. So we do hope that we'll be able to announce to the market very soon after we have been obtained the last licenses in terms of the development license. And we still foresee opportunity in Korea in a more number of projects. We have targeting around up to 200 megawatts into the pipelines. Next destination will be in Vietnam, that we actually also exploring the similar type of projects, which is wind farm for the second round in terms of the renewable program in Vietnam. So we are looking around for wind farm of 100 to 200 megawatts with the tariff of around 9.8 US dollar cents per unit. So I think that's will be able to finalize and announce to the market in the remaining of the year. So we're able to finalize and complete the project by 2022. Next destination would be Malaysia. So we're actually targeting to be able to ensure that the acquisition project of gas-fired about 200 to 300 megawatts be able to finalize after the unlock of the Malaysian situation. Will be able to finalize the project as well. And last will be in Thailand. So we actually have been awarded earlier in terms of the project in Utapao of 95 megawatts, which is the hybrid projects of solar farm of 50 megawatts plus the 80 megawatt of the gas-fired cogeneration back to back with the energy storage system. So the project has already been in the process of all the legal documentations, and we are still awaiting for the last the land lease agreement to be able to obtain, so that we can continue to start construction of the first phase of the solar farm, followed by gas-fired cogen in the next following rounds. So, and we're still seeing an upcoming of the M&A opportunity both in Thailand and overseas. Altogether, I think we have a cumulative of more than 4 gigawatts, including the IPP gas-fired in Vietnam of 3 gigawatts. So our 4 gigawatts of target that we be able to make it concrete and be able to announce to you all in terms of their situation in a later stage. So I think that would be in terms of the progress updates of what's been happening over the past quarters, and I'll leave it to Khun Surya to walk you through in terms of the capital structure and what has been the performance since the first quarter this year.
Thank you, Khun Noppadet. So we move to capital structure. Start with the debt. We have total debt of 64 billion baht in Q1, and most of these are around 72% is from is at the project level, mainly from the project finance, which can be serviced by its internal cash flow. And for financing costs, the average cost of debt continue to decline to 4.4% in Q1. And next, you can see that we have quite healthy financial status with net interest-bearing debt to equity ratio of 1.1 times in Q1. This is at the consolidated level, and at the company level is only 0.4 times. And for dividend policy, I got questioned a lot, and we maintain our dividend policy of 40% based on the normalized net profit. And next is our financial performance. As Khun Noppadet mentioned, that we have quite very great performance in Q1. For top line, the total revenue increased by 9% from the same period of last year, mainly because of the 40% capacity growth in last year, the M&A in March, and also the additional industrial user with total PPA of 26 megawatt over the past 12 months. And for EBITDA margin, that we have the highest ever EBITDA margin at 29.2%. This is mainly from the continued improvement of the gas-fired power plant, and also the increasing contribution of renewable energy, which normally give relatively higher EBITDA margin than the gas-fired power plant. And next page, we show you the key operational figures from our gas-fired power plant. You can see that the volume that we sold electricity to EGAT increased 6.5% year on year. This is mainly because the M&A of one SPP in March last year and the other one in March this year. And for the volume from industrial user, or we call IU, it's quite stable year on year, as Khun Noppadet mentioned. For tariff, the EGAT tariff normally move in the same trend with the gas price. And for industrial user tariff, it's quite stable. due to the stable FT charge that announced by the ERC or the regulator. For Q-on-Q basis, I would like to point out this, that you can see that the volume that we sold electricity to EGAT actually declined by 4%. This is from temporary event that EGAT did the maintenance of its transmission line for 10 days in March, so that this impact 7 of our SPP projects to stop selling electricity to EGAT for 10 days, and this already resumed to normal operation already. We noticed that the volume that we sold to EGAT, it actually increased in April and May. For industrial user volume, is improved from the previous quarter from new clients and also from seasonal reasons. And next, we continue to show this every quarter. We commit to operate our power plant at a high standard technology and high efficiency. You can see that we always have the heat rate that is lower than the contracted heat rate. This means that we can always gain some margin here. And for the availability factor, we always have more than 95%, or even for at the maintenance period, we still have this factor at above 90%. And last but not least, we talk about the bottom line. Although if you look at the financial statement, you may see that the bottom line look thin, but this is mainly because of the non-cash item from the unrealized FX loss from our US dollar debt. If you exclude those items, the normalized net profit or core profit actually increased 54% year on year from all the reasons that we mentioned. So let's move to the Q&A. We have like a number of Q&A.
Yeah. For the first questions and together with the third questions, I think it's quite in line with in terms of the updating progress of LNG in Vietnam, and also the timeline and expected benefits. So just want to elaborate further in terms of the LNG to power in Vietnam. So these projects actually is a 3 gigawatt projects. It's 2 phases, 1,500 megawatt each. And the first phase is already in operation, but it's under their government PPA. So what it is being in terms of the MOU contracted is that BGRIM will be continue to be part of the LNG supplier and delivery through the contracted to the first existing project, and also to be able to co-develop the second project, which with the same size of 1,500 megawatts together. So the situation as of today is that we actually under discussion and negotiation with the government. So as mentioned, that it's still under the government PPA. It needs to be able to convert it into their the commercial and bankable PPA with the pass-through mechanism of the gas price, and also in terms of the FX pass-through. So similar to other PPA, the commercial PPA has been around in Vietnam. That will be reflected towards the continuity of the first phase discussion, and be able to conclude in terms of the contracts of the first phase. Second phase will be in terms of the upcoming, which we are under discussion in terms of the shareholding proportion. So we intend to hold majority of both the first and the second phase. That still also has been under discussion despite the delay from this pandemic COVID-19 that may prolong in terms of the discussion towards the end of the year. So we're expecting timeline to be more visible sometimes next year in terms of the visibility of the contracts, in terms of the LNG arrangement, and also in terms of the shareholding proportion, and also the overall benefits that we'll be able to achieve. But we have always been targeting to have the investment guideline of the minimum return of not less than 12% of the equity IRR. So that has always been our target, but we need to be adjustment in terms of the risk profile of each country and each of the project and the landscape. For the another question is regarding the COVID-19 situation that may have somewhat impact towards our construction projects, any phase of the delay or what will be in terms of the recovery. So basically, our construction is still going as planned. As mentioned before, we have still under development of a number of projects. Cambodian solar of 39 megawatt that is still be able to construct it and achieve in terms of the commissioning on time by end of the year. There are just one project that maybe slip through next year, which is the wind farm in Thailand of 16 megawatts. So that's the result from the delivery of turbines and rotor, but the construction is still ongoing as planned. But the delay may cause from the shipment basically. So, but the target of the delay may not be much of the effect. Will be around a month or three. But the rest will be still on plan in terms of the SPP extension and SPP replacement programs that we have been finalized in terms of the EPC contracts, financings, and also the land development. So everything's still going as planned.
Okay, the next question asks about CapEx plan for this year and next year. For the project for the committed project in the pipeline that we show you, we prepared to have the capex of 13 billion baht in this year and 19 billion baht in this year. But actually, if we add more project, we also prepare more budget to add more project.
We have quite a very prudent capital structure. So we have been well prepared in terms of our cash on hands and also the cash flow from operation and free cash flow to be able to cope with the new project that will come online, which our target not to achieve debt to equity ratio on the consolidated basis of not more than 2 times. So basically we still have in a range of one times basically. So it's still quite have a high buffer, plus many of the instruments that we have been also prepared to support in terms of the capex financing as well. On the next question is on the joint venture project is in the next 3 years from now. So basically we always look through a number of opportunities. So far, I think thanks to the COVID-19 impediments and also our capability that have been proven over the past 20 years of history. So it has been attract a lot more opportunities to come to us to be able to work together as a partnership. So we always value in terms of our long-term partnership with our local partners, both in Thailand and overseas. So basically we have opportunity has been coming on the joint venture basis from both gas-fired and also renewable projects in both in Thailand and also in neighboring countries, and also including the North Asia that we have been under the due diligence and negotiation so far. So as mentioned, we have more than up to 4 gigawatts of our target that will be coming in the next 3 to 5 years from now. So that's been an opportunity that we have foreseen so far. And if there's more to come and more able to announce to you, and we will let you know in more details. So next question is on the measures to safeguard employees against the COVID-19 situation. So basically, we actually have put this the safeguard employee as our top priorities. As mentioned at the very beginning, we want to ensure that everyone has been safe, healthy, and also secure from this unpleasant situation. So we have a very stringent and preventive measures from both every offices, both in Bangkok and at the power plants. So we have been quite remoted and isolated from between each other, have a very high safeguard measures. For instance, in terms of the protection, the hygiene mechanism, the measures and everything also have been put as the top announcement and priority from the top management through all the employees. So everyone still working, has been working from home over the past months, and we try to ensure that we have keeping our social distancing all along. So that has been practiced and very stringently and very effectively as well.
And also the company give the masks to everyone almost every day for 3 months already, and still giving.
Yeah, I think we have practiced and follow all the guideline and regulation from both the government and from the policy of the company strictly in terms of the protection and also in terms of the cleanness as well. So I guess this we cover all the presentation that we would like to make, and also all the questions that you have been asked. But if you have any further question, you can reach out to our investor relation through the website or through the every channels. We are more than happy to get you to answer for any questions. And also we are hoping that everyone has been safe and healthy through this difficult period, and wish you all the best. And thank you, and สวัสดีครับ
สวัสดีค่ะ